The last quarter, India grew at just 5.4%.
Growth in GDP coming at a near two-year low of 5.4%.
1,000 points today. The Nifty was in the red too.
GDP growth is at about 5.4.
I don't think any one economy is so immune that the global volatilities don't affect.
Think of this. India's GDP growth rate slumped to 5.4% in the second quarter of this year. The confidence of foreign investors is dropping, as evidenced by the less money flowing in this financial year. Estimates for FDI inflows stand at around $70 billion. Worst of all, these foreign investors are taking money out of India at a record pace. About $44 billion was disinvested from the country, making the net FDI, meaning the difference between the inflow and the outflow of FDI, at a mere $26 billion. Is that all? If you are thinking that India's doomsday has arrived, congratulations. You have successfully fallen into the trap of the lobby that works very hard to paint a falling image of the country. FDI outflows have been on a rise for close to a year now, and the dollar has been strengthening for more than a decade. Adani was indicted just a few weeks ago. So clearly, these events cannot be tied together with a simple cause and effect explanation. Let's face it, the news points I mentioned earlier are true, and there is some statistical evidence to back them. Today, I will help you look at the FDI squeeze phenomena from a much more nuanced lens, instead of sounding the death whistle of our economy and our markets. So, what's happening? Foreign direct investment, or FDI as it is abbreviated, refers to the investment of foreign individuals and entities in India with the hope of earning higher returns by putting money into a growing economy. Google's investment of $4.5 billion in Jio is one example. However, FDI is measured not only by how much comes in but also by how much flows out. Think of this. If I hand you 500 rupee notes and take back 200 rupee notes, how much have I actually given you? Is the difference of what was given and what was taken back, right? India is in a peculiar situation. The investments by foreign entities have seen a dip, but the amount these entities have pulled out have seen a much more significant rise. What was once known as the king of FDI seems to be losing its scale. What explains FDI's disinvestments in India? Are foreign investors losing confidence in our markets? Is India not as appealing anymore? Here are three reasons. First, Indian stocks are overvalued. Indian stocks have become very expensive in the recent years, and the rise in value is not exactly backed by their earnings. Investors buy Nifty 50 stocks at a price that is 24 times the earning of these companies. The financial jargon for this is price to earnings ratio. Think of it like this. You have a shop that sells pencils and you made 100 rupees last week. Someone offers to buy your shop and they offer to pay you 500 rupees. The price to earnings ratio in this case is 500 divided by 100, which is 5. If someone pays 800 rupees, then the ratio becomes 800 by 100, which is 8. Now compare these two ratios and you'll realize that the higher the ratio, more likely that company is overvalued. The PE ratio of India is 24, whereas that of Taiwan and China is about 18 and 14 respectively. China therefore offers stocks at much cheaper valuations. For a long time, the international investors have been worried of the financial numbers reported by Chinese companies. A combination of lack of credible third parties to verify the financial to boost investor confidence and the fact that the economy has been slumping drove down the stock prices. This drives us to our second point. Our northern neighbor, tired of a low nominal growth for over a decade, announced an ambitious stimulus package to jolt their economy into higher growth. The package includes a reduction in taxes, lower down payments for second home purchases, and the creation of swap facilities with security brokers, to name a few. The much-awaited announcement has made China a very promising destination for investors willing to bet on these foreign markets. According to JP Morgan, about $12 billion flowed into China in just 20 days after September 24, 2024. Contrary to popular opinion, it is not just India that is facing the brunt of China's appeal. Japan, Taiwan, and other economies in East Asia have seen their FDIs plummet. Third, corporate earnings in India have been disappointing. Some key sectors like energy and consumer finance has reported lower earnings, which may have further lowered the confidence of these investors. As a result, many investors are lowering their earnings estimates. This is evidenced by the drop in the BSE 500 index, which tracks the performance of 500 top companies in India by about 7% from its peak. Is this a cause for concern? Not really. Despite the disinvestments by foreign investors, Indian markets haven't collapsed. Domestic investors purchased stocks of about 83,271 crores in November this year. And this has offset the impact of money that went out. This means that investors in India still believe in future of the country and that optimism hasn't faded. Second, as counterintuitive as this may seem, the dip in FDI and FII is a sign of healthy correction. Overvaluation has plagued our markets, with many expecting an unrealistic compound growth rate of 2 to 3% every month. A market correction ensures that all speculative excesses are left behind. India's fundamentals are strong. Although there might be greater enthusiasm about returns in China, analysts predict that this could be short-lived. The debt to GDP ratio is so high that the government will find it difficult to stimulate the economy and keep up the Chinese promise after a point. Fourth, the state of the global economy significantly impacts the direction of FDI and FII. India, like many other economies, is not an active investment destination. Our country is a part of the emerging market investments basket in the global portfolio of many investors. As a result, global macroeconomic conditions greatly influence India's share in the basket. History tells us that short-term volatility and FDI-FII trends don't indicate a pending doom. The Indian stock market has bounced back from large foreign investments outflows before. For example, after the financial crisis in 2008, the market in India fell sharply but recovered by over 127% within 12 months. Our markets bounced back quickly after the pandemic in 2020 and have continued to perform well ever since. This is Samprati and see you in the next one.